Hello, SpongeGex here with another anime review. So, last time I reviewed Makoto Shinkai's masterpiece, Your Name. Many people consider that to be Shinkai's best movie, or even the best anime film ever made. So, color me surprised when I thought that his following film was even better. Today, I'm going to talk about the 2019 film, Weathering with You. This movie just stuck with me more than Your Name did, with its gorgeous visuals, memorable music, and very emotional story. This was actually the first Shinkai movie I've ever seen. I actually saw this before Your Name. So it popped up on my recommendations while watching HBO Max after seeing a Studio Ghibli film. So yeah, I watched it and I ended up loving it. I loved it so much that I ordered a Blu-ray copy. So out of all the great anime films I've seen this year, this is probably either my third or second favorite film. Like, Wolf Children was definitely my favorite, and I can't decide if I like this more than Belle, but it's definitely in the top three. So, yeah, people are very divisive about this one, and it usually boils down to whether people can handle the ending or not, because it has a very unconventional ending that can turn people off. Either people will understand it or they will be frustrated with it, but otherwise, yeah, ahead of time, I can tell you I enjoyed the ending. But, so out of all the English dubs of Shinkai's films, this one has to have the most standout voice cast. I mean, the most top-billed voice actor is probably Alison Brie as Natsumi. Alison played Annie in Community and Unikitty in the Lego Movie.
What? Are you serious? That's slave labor! Is that even legal?
Riz Ahmed, who plays a detective, was the voice of Ballister from Nimona. That's another good movie.
Take a good look. What do you know about the boy in the video?
And then Mike Pollock, the voice of Dr. Eggman from Sonic the Hedgehog, plays another detective.
So, the kid's about high school age, huh?
So I'm not too familiar with what else this actor's been in, but the main character Hodoka was voiced by Brandon Eggman, and, or Ingman, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but he played the comical kayaking goofball Kamashine in the movie Belle.
No way. I'm not going back.
So this movie, once again, has brilliant music and songs, once again provided by the band Radwimps, and it has two memorable songs called Celebration and The Grand Escape, which they got a singer named Toko Miura to provide the vocals. While the songs and music in Your Name are great, I personally just love the music and songs in Weathering With You a lot better. My personal favorite tracks from this film include Is There Still Anything That Love Can Do, Running With Hina, and The Great Escape. I wish I could share samples, but, you know, copyright. So, our film opens up with a girl named Hina. She just lost her mother at a hospital. She notices a light shining on an abandoned building in the distance. She scales up the building and walks through a shrine gate while praying, just to end up being warped into the sky. More on her later. So we cut to our other main character, Hodoka, as he ran away from his island home and boards a ship to run away to Tokyo. He's surprised by how rainy it is around Tokyo, and apparently that's true. In Japan, it rains a lot. So he nearly drowns as the weather gets really harsh, but an alcoholic named Kisuke Suga saves Hodoka's life. But Hodoka starts getting mooched off of by Mr. Suga, as he basically guilts him over the fact that he saved him. So he ends up giving Mr. Suga a free meal and a beer. Mr. Suga gives Hodoka his business card and address for if Hodoka ever needs help, to which Hodoka basically shrugs it off, but he holds on to it anyways. So Hodoka settles into a hotel, but he's surprised by how expensive everything is, and it's not too long to where he can't afford staying there anymore. So he runs low on money and has trouble finding a job and shelter. One night while squatting outside of a club, a sex trafficking club owner knocks him into a trash can. Hodoka tries being polite and tries picking up the trash and putting it away, but he's horrified to find a paper bag with a gun in it. He panics and hides the gun in his pocket. Now, the movie never establishes this for American audiences, but, yeah, Japan has a very strict gun law. Illegal possession of a gun can land you 15 years in prison, and just firing a gun can land you life in prison. It's so strict that even the Japanese mafia, called the Yakuza, know not to wield guns. Maybe America could learn something from Japan's gun regulations. Just saying. So, Hodoka can't tell if the gun is real or if it's a toy, but he hides it just to be safe. So Hodoka ends up taking shelter inside of a McDonald's. Yes, an actual McDonald's. They did have to flip the logo upside down and call it WickDonald's, like that cliche shown in many other anime shows, which they use to avoid copyright. They actually got the official permission to use McDonald's likeness in this movie. And Shinkai just must love his McDonald's because ever since Your Name, all of his movies have had at least one cameo or product placement of McDonald's. So Hina, the girl from the beginning of the movie, is shown to work there. She feels sorry for Hodoka and offers him a quarter pounder out of the kindness of her heart. As the last resort, Hodoka ends up looking at Mr. Suga's location for his job offer. There he meets a woman named Natsumi, and I'm just gonna say it, she is the best character in the movie. I wish she got more scenes, because she just had the funniest moments in the film, and Alison Brie did such a great job voicing her in the English dub. So Hodoka walks in on Natsumi sleeping, and yeah, he gets a little too curious while looking at her.
I saw you checking out my boobs.
No, I wasn't.
So Hodoka, being the clueless dork that he is, assumes that Natsumi is Mr. Suga's mistress, which just makes things awkward later on in the movie when Hodoka finds out that she is his niece.
Hodoka, he actually thought you were my...
She's your niece?
So this whole time, you had disgusting fantasies?
That is so perverted.
Mr. Suga tells Hodoka that they make articles for magazines, and he wants to hire Hodoka to be a reporter and make articles that will garner attention. He offers Hodoka free room and board if he takes the job. So Hodoka and Natsumi are first tasked to make articles about mythical sunshine girls. They find a fortune teller who claims that sunshine girls are real. She explains how they are connected to the sky and they have the power to stop rain and bring out the sun's light and warmth. So one rainy day, Hodoka encounters Hina, the girl from McDonald's, and he sees her being with the club owner who pushed him the other night. Hodoka rushes over and grabs Hina's hand and tries getting her away from the sex trafficker. The club owner catches Hodoka and starts beating him up. He explains how Hina made a deal with him, and he continues hitting Hodoka. So Hodoka desperately pulls out the gun that he found earlier, and he aims it at his attacker. The club owner laughs at Hodoka, claiming he doesn't have the guts. Hodoka ends up firing the gun, but all it did was shoot a street light. So Hodoka is horrified to realize that the gun was real, and Hina grabs Hodoka and takes him to an abandoned building, the same one from the beginning of the film. So Hina is outraged with Hodoka for ruining her chance at getting a paid job, along with firing a gun at someone. Hodoka explains how he thought it was a toy and he held onto it because ever since he found it, it just brought him good luck. So Hina storms out as Hodoka feels ashamed of himself for scaring away a girl who showed him kindness the other night. Hina calms down and comes back to Hodoka, and she explains how she got fired from McDonald's. She claims that it wasn't because of the burger she gave him. So she tries cheering up Hodoka by taking him to the top of the roof, and she asks him if he wants the rain to stop. So Hina starts praying and says it's gonna clear up soon. Suddenly, the rain stops and the sun appears. Hodoka realizes that Hina is a sunshine girl, and she introduces herself and asks for his name. Hodoka tells her his name and tells her that he's a 16-year-old, to which she tells him that her birthday's coming up and she'll be 18 soon. So Hina invites Hodoka to stop by her house as she cooks him up a meal. So she reveals that she lives alone with nothing but her and her little brother, Nagi. So this is why she desperately needs a job. She needs the money so she can support for her little brother. So Hodoka doesn't want Hina to make money off a job that requires her performing sexual favors. So he encourages her that she should be making money off of her sunshine powers. So they start a website and a service advertising that they'll make the rain go away and they'll bring out the sunshine. They get their first customers who want to sell merchandise at a sporting event but can't due to the rain. The customers are skeptical at first and nearly give up on them until finally the sun shows up and they are convinced that Hina is in fact a real-life sunshine girl. So we get a montage of Hina just bringing sunshine all across Tokyo to different paying customers as they give out raving reviews and praise for this magical girl. So Mr. Suga finds out from Natsumi that Hodoka met a friend who is an actual sunshine girl and how they started a business together. So Natsumi is happy for him, but Mr. Suga is annoyed because Hodoka isn't doing any of the work for the job he provided for him. So they end up visiting an old shrine priest, and they ask him questions about sunshine girls. The priest sheds more light on sunshine girls, or weather maidens, and he reveals that they are human sacrifices. The more they bring their weather to the people, the faster they disappear. So Nagi notices how happy his sister is when she's with Hodoka, and so he decides to have a little talk with Hodoka. Nagi tells him that Hina never gets a chance to be a regular teenager since she's always looking out for himself. So Nagi can tell Hodoka is in love with Hina, and he tells him that he wants Hodoka to prove that he is the right guy for her. He encourages Hodoka to buy a birthday gift for Hina.
I did ask a woman for ideas, but
I know what I'd like. hugs and kisses, money, boyfriend, and a real job.
But she wasn't very helpful.
So we get a fun little cameo where Hodoka enters a jewelry store and he asks the clerk what to get for his friend. She encourages getting a ring. So Hodoka asks if his friend will like it. The clerk responds, I think she'll like it. The camera pans up, and oh my goodness, it's Mitsuha from Your Name, all grown up. So obviously, I didn't know who she was before, because I saw this before seeing Your Name. So after revisiting this film, after watching Your Name, yeah, I was surprised. I was like, oh my god, it's Mitsuha. And apparently Taki's in this film as well. So Hodoka and Hina's weather service has been getting an overwhelming amount of demands, and they decide that they need to take a long break from it. They've made enough money as it is, so they decide to do one last job, and it turns out that their last customer is Mr. Suga, as he wanted to stop the rain so he could finally have a play date with his daughter Mocha. Mr. Suga lost custody of his daughter after his beloved wife died. His mother-in-law took in his daughter because his life became a wreck after he lost her, and so he's trying desperately to prove that he can gain legal custody of her, that he's responsible enough. So, Mocha has asthma, which means that she can never really play outside due to all the rain in Tokyo. So Natsumi meets up with everyone, and Hodoka asks Mr. Suga if Natsumi will be mad to find out that he has a daughter. Mr. Suga laughs this off and reveals that Natsumi is his niece, and so yeah, it gets really awkward but funny here. So Natsumi tells Hina that Hodoka and Mr. Suga are so much alike, they both ran away from home at a young age. And then Natsumi brings up concern over Hina as she begins telling her about what the priest told her about Sunshine Girls and how they're human sacrifices. So Natsumi offers to take Nagi out to eat with Mocha as Hina and Hodoka head back home. Hina reveals to Hodoka how she became a Sunshine Girl on the day where her mom died. So as they get back to Hina's apartment, she tells Hodoka to hide as detectives are waiting in front of her door. So the detectives ask Hina if she's seen Hodoka, as they show a picture of him, and Hina lies that she's never seen him before. The detective says that he's been filed for a missing persons report, and he's accused of possibly possessing a firearm. They also address how Hina has a minor in her house, being her younger brother, Nagi. They inform her that they can't have a boy his age in a household without adult supervision, and they threaten to take him away the following morning. So, as Mr. Suga gets back to Hina's to drop off Nagi, he wants to have a word with Hodoka alone in his car. So, Mr. Suga is in a disguise, wearing a hat and shades, and he informs Hodoka how the police interrogated him. He's a suspect for kidnapping Hodoka, as he's been filed as a missing person. So Mr. Suga tells Hodoka that, unfortunately, he can't let him live at his place or work for him anymore. You know, he's trying to get his daughter's custody back, and he can't risk losing it by harboring, a missing person. So he hands Hodoka his last payment and tells him, it's time to grow up, little man. So Hina is horrified to learn that she's going to lose her brother, and Hodoka tells her that they're all going to run away. So the kids try finding a place to stay, but all the hotels they visit just won't accept unaccompanied minors. Natsumi finds out that Mr. Suga let Hodoka go, and she's upset with him over that.
Not cool. Meow.
See, even Rain's judging you.
She's also worried about Hina's fate as she's used up so much of her weather powers. All Mr. Suga cares about is seeing his daughter again, so he gives a harsh response where if it takes one person to die in order to make the weather better, he's basically ready for it.
You could fix this crazy weather with one human sacrifice. I'd be fine with it. Everyone would.
So, after a close encounter with the cops, the kids are able to escape as Hina is able to summon lightning, which blows up a cop car and causes a massive distraction. So, the kids manage to sneak out, and they find a hotel that finally accepts them. And so, they finally get a break from all the chaos. They have a great time as they order food, take a hot bath, and sing karaoke together. So, Hodoka prays to God that if he is indeed real, to please let things stay this way. Don't throw anything else their way, but don't throw anything away either. And this is exactly why I'm an agnostic person, because what cruel god would allow what happens next? So Hodoka presents Hina with her birthday present, which she loves. So she asks Hodoka if he'd do anything to make the rain go away, to which he says yes. She then reveals what Natsumi told her about being a human sacrifice, and how she'll disappear into the sky soon, because of all of the powers that she's used up during their weather service. Hodoka thinks she's talking crazy, but then Hina In a shocking move, slides off a bit of her robe, revealing everything below her chest is transparent and fading away.
What are you looking at?
I'm not looking at anything. I'm looking at you, Hina.
Hodoka tears up, feeling like this is all his fault. It was his idea to start the weather business, and he feels like he dragged her into it, and he desperately begs her not to go away. He promises he'll get a job so she doesn't have to be a sunshine girl anymore.
But you helped me find a reason to live. I continued working as the sunshine girl because it made me happy. I liked making people smile.
So at night, Hina sadly fades away and ends up trapped in the sky. Her ring falls off and it lands in front of the hotel they were staying at. A bunch of people have a strange dream where they see Hina disappearing into the sky. So as Hodoka wakes up, he's devastated to find out that Hina disappeared. The police show up and they take away Nagi and arrest Hodoka. It's revealed that the rain has stopped since Hina's sacrifice. So the police interrogate Hodoka and they ask him if he knows the whereabouts of 16-year-old Hina. Hodoka is surprised to find out that she wasn't 18 like she said. She lied about it, supposedly to protect her younger brother. She wanted to prove that she's old enough to take care of him despite how she wasn't. So Hodoka tries telling the cops that Hina can't be found because she disappeared into the sky. So Hodoka manages to break free of the cops as he desperately heads to the abandoned building in hopes of walking through the shrine gate to get Hina back. So Natsumi manages to ride by Hodoka on her scooter as she risks her life and chances of landing another job elsewhere in order to help him escape from the cops to get his friend back. Mr. Suga gets visited by one of the other detectives as he's informed that Hodoka escaped custody and they're trying to find him. So Nagi manages to break out of custody as well by bringing in his girlfriend to distract the cop while having his ex-girlfriend swap clothes with him so he could sneak out.
Thanks, I owe you one. Ugh, you bet I can't believe you. Calling your ex to help you out with something like this? Take it. Turn around. We still need to swap clothes.
Natsumi's scooter ends up stuck in the water as she encourages Hodoka to run ahead and never give up. The next scene is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, mostly thanks to the visuals and the beautiful music that plays, but Hodoka desperately runs across restricted zones and train tracks as memories of Hina play through his head. He keeps apologizing to her, blaming himself for her disappearance. He finally makes it to the abandoned building, but as he races to the top, he's stopped by Mr. Suga. Mr. Suga tries talking Hodoka into turning himself in, with the promise that the cops will let him off easier if he cooperates with them. He grabs Hodoka and tries dragging him towards the police, but Hodoka bites Mr. Suga's arm as Mr. Suga kicks him off of him. As Hodoka is kicked against the wall, he finds the gun that he discarded the other day. He picks it up and desperately holds it up to Mr. Suga.
Let me go to Hina. I have to see her!
The cops show up and surround Hodoka, demanding him to drop the gun or they'll fire. Mr. Suga tries telling the cops to go easier on him, he's just a kid. Hodoka drops the gun and once again claims that he just wants to bring Hina back. He tries making a run for it to the shrine gate, but he gets tackled by one of the detectives. Mr. Suga sacrifices the chances of getting custody of his daughter as he tackles the cop and tells Hodoka to go. Nagi also shows up and attacks another cop as he tells Hodoka to bring his sister back. So Hodoka races up the collapsing staircases and he finally reaches the shrine gate and is allowed entrance into the sky. Now this is another one of my favorite parts of the movie. So Hodoka finds Hina and they end up falling from the sky. Hodoka tries grabbing her hand as they're falling. Hodoka tells Hina, "Let's go home." Hina responds, "What about the weather?" Hodoka says, "Let it stay crazy. I don't care about blue skies. All I want is you." Hina tears up as Hodoka finally reaches her. They grab each other's hands, and the music really picks up. Hodoka tells Hina to pray for herself from now on. They end up praying and end up safely on the ground as the rain comes over Tokyo. So we cut to 3 years later, where we see that Hodoka graduated from high school and he's heading back to Tokyo. He reveals how 3 years ago he was arrested, but he was spared a life in prison, but he was under a strict probation that didn't wear off until he graduated high school. So over time, Tokyo ended up getting flooded due to all the rain after bringing Hina back. Hodoka moves into Tokyo and tries finding a job. He looks up online to find out if his old weather service is still up, and it is. There he finds that they had one job request that wasn't fulfilled. So he decides to visit the old lady who asked for a service years ago, as he apologizes, confessing that his friend is no longer a sunshine girl. He starts feeling like Tokyo's flooded state is all of his fault, but the lady tries cheering him up by talking about Japan's past. She explains how this place used to be called Edo, and it was nothing but ocean. But people built lands and cities over it, and now Tokyo has reverted back to the state it was. So Hodaka visits Mr. Suga, who just as well was surprisingly let go a lot easier as he managed to expand his business. He tells Hodaka that he can't offer him a job because he has too many positions filled up. He shows Hodaka a picture from his last visit with his daughter, so he wasn't able to gain custody of his daughter, but he's still able to visit her, luckily. And we also see that Mocha, Naki, and Natsumi are alright, as they're still visiting each other. Hodaka brings up Hina and reveals that he hasn't seen or heard from her since the day he brought her back from the sky. Mr. Suga encourages him to go find her and not to blame himself. And instead of calling him Little Man like before, he now calls him Big Man. So, Hodaka walks through the rainy streets of Tokyo, wondering if he's really to blame for Tokyo being flooded, or if that old lady and Mr. Suga were right that it's no one's fault and that the world has always been crazy and it always will be. Finally, he finds Hina praying in front of the ocean. Hodaka takes the blame that he and Hina indeed changed the world. It's their fault, but they're gonna live in it. And he shouts out to Hina. She is happy to see him as she rushes over to him and gives him a hug. Hodaka holds her hands and says that they'll be alright. Now, I feel like the ending is where most people will decide their final thoughts on this movie, and I've seen some people say they hated this movie because they hated the ending. They thought, like, oh god, the world got flooded because of that stupid, selfish kid. He did all of this just to get together with a girl. Now, I feel like a lot of people who felt that way really missed the point of this movie. One kid shouldn't have to die so the rest of the world can thrive. It has some very deep commentary about the corruption of humanity, how they don't always think things through, especially when it comes to building things. They act like they own parts of the world and they build over it, and then when nature takes it back, they always blame younger generations, and they expect them to fix it. So, I was not mad at all by the ending. The ending caught me by surprise. It definitely was not the ending I predicted, but I still loved it. Now, there are so many worse ways they could have ended this movie. It would have been a gut punch if Hodaka never made it to the Shrine Gate because he got arrested. Or what if right after he saved Hina from the sky, if it just ended with them unconscious on the ground? It's like, part of me almost thought like they were going to end the movie like that because the way it faded to black after that, but luckily more happened after. So yeah, there are many worse ways they could have ended this movie, and I can't argue with the way they ended it. It's a very bittersweet ending, and it's very thought-provoking, while also serving as a great history lesson about Japan. In fact, I saw a news report earlier this year about how Japan is actually planning to build an underwater city. Now, if I heard that news before watching this movie, I would have said that's crazy and a huge waste of money. But after seeing this movie, learning about how Japan used to be nothing but ocean, and how it's constantly raining there, yeah, an underwater city totally makes sense now. One day, Japan could end up flooded just like we saw in Weathering with You. So instead of building over the wreckage, just for it to happen all over again, maybe they should think outside of the box and try building underneath the problem. This does raise a lot of questions, like how expensive it would be to run and operate an underwater city. Transportation and deliveries to an underwater city sounds complicated, along with having to worry about a thriving agriculture, homes, and businesses. And then other problems it could create is, what if the city ran short on an oxygen supply? What if the surface cracks? Yeah, it does raise a lot of questions, but I'm just glad to see that at least Japan is finally thinking outside of the box, instead of building the same thing all over again just for the same thing to happen all over again. There are so many things in life that I wish were made better, because over time you see them break down over and over again, and you're tired of seeing people rebuilding them the same fragile way. This is just a beautiful movie, and I highly recommend it. I give Weathering with You a 9 out of 10. That's all I have to show for now. Thank you for watching, see you next time, and have a great day.